He left his black wife for another woman, but she returned in a limo with a shocking secret. Before we start today's story, comment below where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you haven't already. You won't want to miss what's next. Sloane Rutherford couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her husband, Caspian Thorne, had secretly married another woman. She saw it on Instagram, and her heart broke into a million pieces. But what Caspian didn't know was that Sloane had a secret of her own, a secret that would change everything. She walked into the wedding in a shiny limousine, her 3 babies with her. The champagne glass in her hand slipped and shattered on the marble floor of her penthouse. Pieces of crystal glittered like tiny stars in the sunlight. Her hands shook as she held her phone, the Instagram post glowing in front of her. Caspian Thorne and Juniper Sterling were married. Blessed couple, new beginnings. Sloane's world turned upside down. There was Caspian, the man she loved, kissing a blonde woman in a long white dress, holding her close the way he had once held Sloane. The same hand that had traced her skin and whispered forever had wrapped around someone else now. Sloane was rich, powerful, and successful. Her cosmetics empire made millions. She wore a silk robe that cost more than Caspian made in a month. But all that didn't matter. Right now, she felt betrayed, heartbroken, and angry. She was furious that Caspian had humiliated her like this, posting his secret wedding for the whole world to see. He had thought he was clever, pretending he needed space to think while secretly planning a future with another woman. But Sloane had a secret too, one he would never see coming. Her phone buzzed. It was her assistant, Mills. "Sloane, your car is ready for your 3 p.m. appointment. Should I reschedule?" Sloane smiled a little. She had almost forgotten her very important appointment today. Perfect timing. She walked to the big windows of her penthouse, looking out over the city. At 32, she had never been more beautiful. Her skin glowed, her hair was perfect, and her confidence shined from every part of her. Caspian had made a mistake thinking he could throw her away. He didn't know what she had been keeping secret for the last 4 months. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Dr. Eris Mitchell, her doctor. "Hello, Dr. Mitchell," Sloane said, trying to sound calm. "Sloane, I have wonderful news," Dr. Mitchell said. "The amniocentesis results came back perfect. All 3 babies are healthy and growing beautifully. Are you ready to know the genders?" Sloane's eyes widened. 3 babies. Caspian's babies, conceived during the weekend when he had been so sweet and loving, saying goodbye while she didn't even know what was coming. "Yes, doctor. Tell me everything," Sloane said. Dr. Mitchell smiled in her voice. "You are having 2 boys and 1 girl. They are strong, healthy, and show incredible traits from both parents. The boys are likely to be tall and athletic like Caspian, and the girl shows signs of being very smart and creative, just like her mother." Sloane's smile grew. Caspian thought he had won by marrying Juniper in secret. He had no idea that in a few months his world would be turned upside down. And Sloane? She was going to watch it all happen. But first, she had a wedding to attend. Sloane went to her closet. She picked out a beautiful emerald green dress, Caspian's favorite color. Soon, she would start showing her pregnancy, and in 5 months she would hold her 3 babies in her arms. They would inherit her empire, and yes, they would carry Caspian's name, whether he liked it or not. Her phone buzzed again. It was her best friend and business partner, Zara Croft Black. "Girl, I saw the Instagram posts. Are you okay? Should I come over with wine and maybe bail money?" Zara asked. Sloane laughed softly. Zara had been her friend since college. She knew everything about Sloane's business and her life, and most importantly, she knew about the babies. "I'm better than okay," Sloane said. "Meet me at the office in an hour. We have a wedding to plan." Zara sounded worried. "Please tell me you're not thinking about doing something crazy." "Define crazy?" Sloane said, smiling. Zara called her right back. "Whatever you're thinking, stop. I'm thinking about justice," Sloane said. "Caspian humiliated me. He chose Juniper over me, but now he gets to face the consequences, and the babies, they deserve to know their father, and Caspian deserves to know about them. I'm just going to introduce them, that's all. Sloane looked in the mirror again. She didn't see the insecure 25-year-old girl who had fallen in love with Caspian years ago. She saw a strong, confident woman, a queen. Caspian had helped her when she was starting her cosmetics business. He had cheered for her every step of the way, but when she became successful, he had shrunk and complained about feeling overshadowed. Someone who needs me, he had said, but Sloane didn't need him anymore. She didn't even know if he deserved what was coming. She picked up her phone and scrolled through Caspian's wedding photos again, studying Juniper's face. Pretty, safe, ordinary. Everything Sloane wasn't. Sloane's assistant, Iris, came into the office with a big smile and important news. I got the limousine. I have the wedding venue's details. And guess what? I found out something interesting about Juniper Sterling, Iris said. Sloane raised her eyebrows. She's not just some random woman. She's the daughter of Sterling and Associates, an accounting firm trying to steal your business. And Caspian? He's been working with them secretly for 6 months. He's been betraying you and your business while pretending to need space. Sloane's anger grew even hotter. Caspian had tried to ruin her personally, romantically, and professionally. Her doctor's voice came through the intercom again. Sloane, I have more news from the ultrasound. You're having 2 boys and 1 girl, and they're going to be extraordinarily healthy, smart, and strong. Your girl is going to be brilliant, just like you. Sloane smiled, her heart full. Caspian was about to become a father of 3, whether he wanted to or not. And Juniper, the woman who thought she had a happy ending with Caspian, she was about to get a very different kind of surprise. Sloane looked out at the city. She had risen from nothing to everything, building her empire with her own hands. Somewhere far away, Caspian was celebrating his new marriage. He was probably raising a glass and thinking about how free he was from his complicated relationship with his successful girlfriend, Sloane. He probably thought he'd traded that life for an easier one, a life with a wife who would never challenge him or make him feel small. But Caspian had no idea that in less than 3 hours, his new wife would meet the woman who was connected to him in a very special way. Sloane had 3 tiny babies growing in her belly, and in just a little while he was going to find out he was their father. Iris, Sloane's assistant, answered her call. Call the wedding venue, Sloane said. Tell them I, Sloane Rutherford, want to make a donation to the happy couple. Something big enough to get us in the door. How big are we talking? Iris asked. Tens of thousands. $50,000, Sloane said calmly. Iris's eyes went wide. That's a lot. That's going to get their attention. That's the point, Sloane said. I want Caspian to see me walking in. I want him to panic for a full minute before I give him the surprise. This will change all our lives forever. As Sloane planned her dramatic entrance, she felt something flutter in her belly. It was soft, like butterfly wings. Her babies were already letting her know they were there. For a moment, her anger softened. She thought about her children. They deserved better than a father who ran away, and better than a mother who was only thinking about revenge. They deserved parents who could figure out a way to live together peacefully. If not for love, then at least for the 3 innocent lives growing inside her. But first, Caspian Thorne needed to understand what he had thrown away. And Juniper Sterling, his new wife, needed to understand exactly what she had signed up for. The game was about to start, and Sloane Rutherford never lost. The Rosewood Country Club shined in the late afternoon sun. Its gardens were neat and beautiful, and the wedding looked simple but elegant. Sloane watched from the back seat of her shiny black Tesla as guests laughed and talked on the terrace. Champagne glasses sparkled in the sunlight like tiny rainbows. Caspian looked good, she had to admit. His dark suit fit him perfectly, and his smile looked happy as he posed for photos with his new wife. Juniper Sterling was just what Sloane had expected: petite, blonde, and pretty in a safe way. The kind of woman men like Caspian chose when they wanted to feel bigger and stronger instead of being challenged. "Are you sure about this?" Iris asked from the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel tightly. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," Sloane said. She adjusted her green dress, which fit her body perfectly, and checked her makeup one last time. These babies deserve to know their father, and Caspian deserves to know he's about to become a dad. "I'm just making the timing faster," she whispered to herself. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from her lawyer. "Sloane, I checked all the documents you asked for. Everything is correct legally, but are you sure you want to do this your way?" Sloane had spent the whole afternoon making sure her children would be safe no matter what happened. She had set up trust funds, custody papers, and DNA tests. She didn't do anything halfway. "Proceed as planned. Today changes everything," she texted back. Through the country club's big windows, she could see Caspian's parents, Alistair and Eleanor Thorne. They had once loved her like a daughter. They were heartbroken when Caspian ended things with her. They had called her many times, trying to understand what went wrong. She had protected Caspian's secrets and told them it was mutual, that they both needed space. Now she wondered if they knew about Juniper, the betrayal, and the double life their son had been living. Her chest tightened when she saw Caspian's younger sister, Felicity Thorne Vale, who had never really liked her but had always been polite. Felicity was holding her little boy and laughing at something Juniper said. It was the perfect family picture Caspian always said he wanted. "Okay," Sloane said finally. "It's time." Corbin, the limousine driver, held the door open. Sloane caught her reflection in the dark window. She looked strong, beautiful, and untouchable. But under her fancy dress and perfect makeup, she was still just a woman who had loved a man completely and been betrayed. The difference now was that she had money, determination, and three very important reasons to make Caspian face the truth. The limousine moved toward the country club like a ship heading to shore. Inside, she had everything she needed: chilled apple cider, a bouquet of white roses, and three small gift boxes with ultrasound pictures and DNA test requests. "Give me 5 more minutes," she told Corbin. "I want to watch him be happy just a little longer. After today, things are going to get very complicated." She studied Caspian through the window. He looked lighter and happier than before. The tension he had carried during the last year of their relationship was gone. He seemed relaxed, charming, and fully present, not worried about her success. This was the Caspian she had fallen in love with. But as she watched him dance with Juniper, laughing and spinning her around, Sloane felt the flutter in her belly again. This time it was stronger. Her babies were reminding her that this was not just about hurt feelings or pride. This was about their future, about knowing their father, and about their place in the family. "Okay," she said finally, her voice calm and strong. "It's time." The limousine stopped at the circular driveway. The sun was setting, making the white car shine like magic. Guests began to turn their heads, trying to see who had arrived in such a fancy car. Corbin stepped out and opened the door. Sloane stepped out like she was walking on a red carpet. Her green dress flowed like water, and the sunlight made her hair shine. Her jewelry sparkled like stars. Gasps went through the crowd. Everyone recognized her. Sloane Rutherford? The woman on magazine covers, the owner of a huge cosmetics empire. What was she doing at Caspian Thorne's wedding? Caspian froze. His champagne glass was halfway to his lips. His face went pale when their eyes met. Juniper followed his gaze and saw Sloane. Her face went white. Even Juniper, who had always been protected from the real world, knew exactly who Sloane Rutherford was. Caspian was trapped in her gaze. He couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't explain why she was there. Sloane moved through the crowd confidently. Guests stepped aside like she owned the room. She could hear whispers. "Is that the Rutherford woman?" What is she doing here? Caspian's parents pushed through the crowd. They were happy to see her, but confused. Sloane! Eleanor Thorne's voice was warm. What a wonderful surprise. Caspian didn't tell us you were coming. The silence was deafening. Every guest was staring at Caspian, who now looked like he might faint. Juniper's grip on his arm tightened. That's because he didn't know I was coming, Sloane said. Her voice carried across the terrace. I just wanted to congratulate you both on your wedding. Her eyes never left Caspian's face. He was trapped, surrounded by his new wife, his family, and all the guests. Then Sloane pulled out an envelope. It was thick, expensive, and important looking. Actually, Caspian, she said, I have a wedding gift for you and Juniper. I think you'll like it. Everyone went quiet, staring. Juniper, curious and nervous, took the envelope. Her hands shook as she opened it. Her face went white. What is it? Caspian whispered. Everyone heard him. Juniper looked at Sloane, then Caspian, then back at the papers. Her voice was calm but cold. It's a paternity test request, she said, and an ultrasound picture of triplets. Everyone gasped. Champagne glasses rattled. Guests shouted in surprise. But all Sloane could hear was Caspian's sharp breath and Juniper's voice. Triplets, Caspian, Juniper said. She's pregnant with triplets, and the DNA test says you're the father. Caspian's legs felt weak, and he almost fell. His best man caught him just in time. His eyes were wide with shock and maybe a little hope, but it quickly turned into panic. Sloane, he whispered. You were going to be a father, Sloane said softly. Her voice was calm, but everyone on the quiet terrace could hear her clearly. 3 times over, she added. She put both hands on her stomach, showing that she was protecting the babies. For the first time since she got out of the limousine, Sloane smiled. Not a mean or proud smile, but a soft, happy one that came from sharing wonderful news. The babies are due in January, she said. 2 boys and a girl. They are healthy, growing well, and they need their father in their lives. Juniper's face showed many feelings at once. Shock, betrayal, anger, and finally a strange kind of relief, like she had been waiting for this moment. How long have you known? Juniper asked Caspian quietly. I didn't know, Caspian said quickly. Juniper, I swear I had no idea. Sloane, when did you find out? Juniper asked. 4 months ago, Sloane said. Right around the time you decided to take space to think about our relationship. Interesting timing, Juniper said, letting the words hang in the air. It was clear to everyone. Caspian had left Sloane when she was already pregnant. He had been planning his wedding to another woman while she was carrying his children. It was cruel and everyone around them could see it. But Sloane didn't feel happy or triumphant. She felt sad. This was not how she wanted to tell Caspian about the babies. They deserved better than this. Everyone deserved better. I should go, Sloane said softly. This is your wedding day, Juniper. I'm sorry I ruined it. But Juniper stopped her. Wait. The blonde woman stepped forward, holding the ultrasound photos. Don't go. We need to talk, all of us. Like it or not, we're all connected now. Sloane realized that Juniper might be the kind of person who could handle the truth. The real question was, could Caspian? Later, in the country club's private room, Sloane sat across from Caspian and Juniper at a shiny wooden table. The ultrasound photos lay between them, looking like evidence in a trial. Outside, the wedding continued with music and laughter, but inside, the room was silent and heavy. Caspian hadn't said a word for 10 minutes. His head was in his hands. He still wore his wedding tuxedo. He looked like a man whose world had completely fallen apart. Sloane guessed that it had. Juniper had taken charge. She had told the confused wedding guests to enjoy themselves and asked the vendors to continue with the party. Now, she studied the ultrasound pictures carefully, as if solving a very hard puzzle. 2 boys and a girl, Juniper said finally. Due in January, right? Yes, Sloane confirmed. They are healthy, no problems, and Caspian is definitely the father. Caspian finally looked up. His eyes were red and desperate. Sloane, I need you to understand, he said. When I said I needed space, I thought we were done. I never meant for this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you. Sloane's voice was calm, but she was hurt. You left me when I was carrying your children, Caspian. You married someone else while I was growing your babies inside me. Do you know what that feels like? I didn't know, Caspian said, his voice breaking. If I had known, everything would have been different. Would it? Sloane asked, leaning forward, her eyes burning. Because the timeline doesn't lie. I got pregnant during our last weekend together. 1 week later, you started dating Juniper. 1 month later, you proposed to her. So tell me, when exactly would you have done things differently? Juniper's face turned pale as she realized the truth. Her whole relationship with Caspian had been built on lies. You were planning this wedding while she was pregnant, Juniper said to Caspian. Her voice was quiet but sharp. You were planning our future while she was carrying your children. Juniper, please let me explain, Caspian said, reaching for her. Explain what? Juniper's calm broke. Explain how you made me believe you were happy? Explain how you told me Sloane was your past and I was your future? Explain how you were with me while your pregnant ex was trying to raise 3 babies alone. Caspian flinched. It wasn't like that, he said. Then what was it like? Juniper asked, pacing by the window. Because it looks like you ran away from responsibility and went straight to someone you thought was easier. Sloane watched. Juniper was showing strength that no one had expected. She wasn't a spoiled daddy's girl. She was realizing her marriage was a lie. I want a divorce, Juniper said quietly. I want an annulment. This marriage was based on lies. No, please, Caspian said, reaching out again. Don't touch me, Juniper said. I can't even look at you right now. She turned to Sloane. I'm sorry you had to go through this alone. I'm sorry he did this to you. And I'm sorry the babies will have a father who runs away when things get hard. Sloane felt something shift inside her. Maybe it was hormones. Maybe it was motherly instinct. Or maybe it was realizing that ruining Caspian's marriage wouldn't undo what he had done. No, she said softly. This isn't your fault, Sloane. Caspian lied to both of us. That doesn't change what he did. But walking away now doesn't change it either. Sloane stood up and held her stomach. These babies need their father, whether he deserves it or not. She looked at Caspian. And you married her today because you love her, right? Juniper's eyes filled with tears. I thought I did, but I don't know who he really is. None of us do. Sloane looked at Caspian, who sat like a broken man. Here's what I know, she said. I built a business from nothing. I can raise 3 children. The question is, does Caspian Thorne want to be a father or just pay money? She gathered the ultrasound photos. You have 48 hours to decide, Caspian. Be a real father, emotional, consistent, permanent, or disappear from our lives completely. Caspian looked up. Sloane, you can't ask me to choose. I'm not asking. I'm telling you, Sloane said firmly. You can be all in or all out. No half measures. These babies deserve better than a part-time father. She walked to the door. And Caspian, next time you think you need space, maybe think about the consequences before you promise things you can't keep. Juniper's voice was soft but clear. She's right, about everything. Sloane didn't stop to hear Caspian's answer. She had 3 babies to think about. She would make sure they were loved, safe, and given the best life, even if she had to do it alone. That night, Sloane didn't sleep. She stood on her balcony, watching the city lights blur through unshed tears. Her babies moved inside her, as if they knew she was worried. Every tiny kick reminded her that this wasn't just about her anymore. 3 little lives depended on what happened in the next few days. Her phone kept buzzing. Texts and calls from Caspian, messages from Juniper, voicemails from Caspian's parents. But she ignored them all. She needed to think. At 3 a.m., the doorbell rang. On the security camera, she saw Juniper in her wedding dress, messy hair, a jacket thrown over it. She looked like a beautiful ghost. Let me up, Juniper said in the intercom. Please, we need to talk. 5 minutes later, Juniper sat in Sloane's living room. The white wedding dress spread around her like sea foam, making her look small and lost in Sloane's big modern apartment. He's been driving around all night, Juniper said. Caspian won't come home. He won't answer his phone. His best man called me, worried he might do something stupid. Sloane poured a glass of water and offered one to Juniper, who didn't take it. What do you want me to do? Sloane asked. I want you to help me understand who I married, Juniper said, her voice steady. Sloane felt shocked, but slowly she grew determined. The man she thought she loved wouldn't have done what Caspian did. So, either this man was a stranger or she was missing something important. Sloane looked at the younger woman carefully. What do you want to know? Sloane asked. Everything, Juniper said. How you met him, what he was like with you, and why he really left. Her blue eyes looked straight at Sloane, not blinking. I need to know if the Caspian I knew is real, or if it was all an act, Juniper said. So, Sloane told her story. She talked about meeting Caspian at a charity party 7 years ago. Back then, Sloane was still trying hard to start her business, and Caspian was a junior accountant with big dreams and a kind heart. She talked about their first years together, how he supported her, how proud he was of her success, and how he had changed when her business grew. But his didn't. He started to resent me, Sloane said quietly. Maybe not on purpose, but I could feel it. Every magazine cover, every award, every time someone introduced me as the successful entrepreneur and him as my boyfriend. It hurt him. Juniper nodded slowly. He told me he wanted a woman who would let him be the man in the relationship. I thought he meant someone who would like his strength, not someone who would make herself smaller because of his insecurities. Sloane sighed. Caspian is a good man with a weak ego. That's not a bad thing by itself, but it becomes a problem when you start making choices out of fear instead of love. The two women sat quietly for a moment, both thinking about the same man who couldn't handle his own feelings. The babies, Juniper said finally, do you want him to be involved? I want them to have a father who chooses them every day, Sloane replied. Not a man who feels trapped or forced, not one who resents them. If Caspian can't be that man, then they are better off without him. Juniper's phone buzzed with a message. She looked at it and showed Sloane. I'm coming home. We need to talk. He's ready to face the truth, Juniper said. The question is, are you ready to hear him? Juniper stood up and smoothed her wedding dress. Her hands shook just a little. I married him this morning, thinking I knew who he was. Tonight I learned I was wrong, but I'm not the same woman who walked down that aisle. Today changed me too. She paused at the door. Whatever Caspian decides about the babies, they will have an advocate in me. I may not be their stepmother anymore, but I won't let them think their father's choices were their fault. After Juniper left, Sloane sat in her empty living room. She felt something she didn't expect. Hope. Not hope that she and Caspian would get back together, their relationship was over, but hope that her children could still have a father who cared, and that something good could come out of the mess. Her phone rang at dawn. Caspian's name appeared. I want to be their father, he said immediately when she answered. Not because I have to, not because it's the right thing, but because I already love them, even before I've met them. Sloane closed her eyes and felt relief and tiredness at the same time. Caspian, I know I don't deserve a second chance. I know I hurt you in ways I can't fix. But these babies didn't choose their father. They stayed with me, whether I was worthy of them or not. I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of them. And Juniper, she's stronger than I thought. She's filing for annulment tomorrow, but wants to help set up college funds for all 3 babies. She says every child deserves adults who believe in their future. Tears Sloane had held back finally fell. Caspian, if you do this, you can't give up when it's hard. You can't disappear when you feel overwhelmed. These kids will depend on you. I know, he said. I will never let them down the way I let you down. It wasn't forgiveness yet, that would take time, but it was a start. 3 babies could now have a father who chose them, even if he chose them later than he should have. Well, we need rules, Sloan said. Co-parenting agreements, legal papers, whatever you need. Whatever they need. As she hung up, Sloan felt the babies move in her belly. It was as if they could feel that their world was becoming more stable, more hopeful. Outside her window, the sun rose over the city that had watched her build a business from nothing. Now it would watch her build something even more important, a family that would put 3 children's needs above everything. 6 months later, Sloan stood in her nursery, her hands on her big belly. She was 8 months pregnant and moved more slowly, but still in charge, giving orders to decorators with the same precision she used at work. Put the mobile over the middle crib, she said. Make sure there's enough space for 2 people to stand comfortably. Caspian came into the room with coffee for the workers, looking amazed. He had been at every doctor's appointment, every ultrasound, every late-night hospital visit, when Sloan got anxious. Dr. Mitchell wants to see us this afternoon, he said, handing her a cup of tea. Something about the delivery timeline. Sloan winced as one of the babies, probably Caspian Jr., kicked hard in her ribs. Your son is going to be a soccer player, she joked. Our son, Caspian corrected gently, a habit he had developed. They had agreed to name the boys Caspian Jr. and Asher after Caspian's grandfather, and the girl would be Zara, a name Sloan loved. These names felt like peace signs, proof that the children belonged to both of them, no matter how complicated things were. Sloan asked Caspian, "Any news from Juniper?" "She's doing well," he said. "The annulment was finalized last month, and she's dating a doctor she met through volunteering. She wants to visit after the babies are born." It was still strange, the friendship Sloan had with Juniper. What began as support after Caspian's betrayal had grown into respect and care. Juniper had kept her promise about the college funds and had become an unexpected source of help. "She can visit any time," Sloan said. "These babies need all the love they can get." Iris burst into the nursery, excited. "Sloan, you won't believe this. Rutherford Cosmetics was named Brand of the Year, and they want to do a feature story about successful moms in business." Caspian and Sloan exchanged a look. Her pregnancy had actually boosted her business, making her a symbol of women who could succeed at work and family. Ironically, Caspian's betrayal had made her more successful than ever. "Schedule it after the babies are born," Sloan said. "I want them in the photos." As the nursery became real instead of just hope, Sloan felt another tightening in her belly. She had been having practice contractions for weeks, but this one felt different. "Caspian," she said quietly. He was immediately by her side, one hand on her back, the other on his phone. "Contraction? I think so, but it's too early. You're not due for another month," he said, dialing Dr. Mitchell. "It's going to be okay. We're ready for this." Were they ready? Sloan wondered. Were they ready for sleepless nights, constant needs, and how these babies would change everything? But as Caspian helped her to the elevator, she realized readiness wasn't the point. Love was. Commitment was. The willingness to figure it out together was the point. "Sloan," Caspian said in the car, "I need you to know something." She looked at him, not the man who hurt her, but the father choosing his children, the partner who spent 6 months proving people could change for the right reasons. "These babies are the best thing I've ever been part of," he said. "Not because they saved my relationship with you. I know that's over, but because they saved me from running away from responsibility. They made me want to be better." Another contraction hit and Sloan gripped Caspian's hand. "Tell me that again in 18 years when they're teenagers giving us trouble," she said. He laughed. For a moment, they were just 2 people about to become parents, excited and scared and full of love for 3 little lives they hadn't met yet. The car arrived at the hospital. Sloane breathed deeply as another contraction came. As ready as we'll ever be, she thought. But she realized she was more than ready. She had resources, support, love, and most importantly, she had learned that the best revenge wasn't hurting the person who hurt her. It was building a life so beautiful that the betrayal didn't matter. Caspian had left her for what he thought was easier. Instead, he gave her the chance to create the life she really wanted. Now, he was choosing to be part of that life, not as her partner, but as the father of their children. It wasn't the ending she imagined, but maybe it was better than anything she could have planned. 18 months later, the Rutherford family Christmas party was in full swing. The penthouse was like a winter wonderland. But the real magic wasn't the decorations. It was the sound of toddler laughter filling the rooms. Sloane sat in her favorite chair with baby Zara on her lap, watching Caspian Jr. and Asher toddle around the living room. DJ had his father's athletic skills and climbed everything. Asher had Sloane's thoughtful nature, studying everything before deciding if it was interesting. And Zara? She had big personality, demanding attention and showing ambition. She's going to be trouble, Juniper said, tickling Zara's tiny feet. Her engagement ring sparkled in the Christmas lights. She's going to rule the world, Sloane said proudly. All three of them will. Sloane and Juniper's friendship had grown over the months. They respected each other and worked together for the kids' happiness. Juniper visited often, spoiled the babies, and had become the honorary aunt Sloane never expected but needed. Caspian came out of the kitchen carrying a tray of snacks. He looked tired but happy. Being a dad really suited him. Sloane had never seen this side of him when they were together. Taking care of three little kids had changed him. His old worries were gone, replaced by confidence and care. He changed diapers without complaining and read bedtime stories in a fun, dramatic way that made the children laugh. "Your parents are on their way up," he told Sloane. "And Iris just texted. She's bringing someone she wants you to meet." Sloane raised one eyebrow. "Please tell me she's not trying to set me up again." "Would I do that?" Iris's voice came from the elevator as she walked into the penthouse. Behind her was a tall man with kind eyes and a warm smile. "Sloane, this is Dr. Everett Monroe. He's the doctor who saved my nephew last year," Iris said. Dr. Monroe stepped forward confidently. "Miss Rutherford, it's an honor to meet you. Iris has told me so much about the work you do with the Children's Literacy Foundation." Sloane felt a little flutter in her chest, not because she was looking for a boyfriend, but something about Dr. Monroe made her feel seen. He didn't just see her as a successful businesswoman or a busy mom. He saw her as a person worth knowing. "Please call me Sloane, and thank you for helping Iris's family. She talks about you like you're a hero," Sloane said. "Only on weekends," he replied with a grin, making Zara giggle and reach for him. "And apparently I have the toddler seal of approval." As the evening went on, Sloane enjoyed talking to Dr. Monroe. He was smart but not bossy, successful but not proud, and completely okay with three energetic kids running around. Caspian's parents, Alistair and Eleanor, arrived later. They went straight to the children, hugging them and giving them gifts that would keep the kids busy for weeks. "Sloane, dear," Eleanor said, pulling her aside, "I want you to know how proud we are of you and of Caspian. You could have made things really hard for all of us, but you didn't. These babies needed their family." "All of their family," Sloane said simply. Holding on to anger wouldn't help anyone. She had learned that carrying hurt around was like carrying stones in her pockets. It only made her tired and sad. Caspian had made his choices, faced them, and stepped up as a dad. That was enough. Later, as the party ended and guests left, Sloane stepped onto the balcony with Dr. Monroe. They looked at the city lights while listening to Caspian reading bedtime stories to the children. "This view is beautiful," Everett said, "but the real beauty is inside. The way you've made such a loving home for your children, even after everything." Sloane smiled. The children deserved better than adults who couldn't get over their problems, so we gave them that. But what about what you deserve? Everett looked at her, and the question hung in the air. Sloane had spent so much time being a perfect mom and running a business that she had almost forgotten she had dreams of her own. I'm still figuring that out, she said honestly. When you do, he said softly, I'd love to be part of that conversation. Before she could answer, Caspian appeared in the doorway. Sorry to interrupt, but DJ says he needs Mama. Something about monsters under his crib. Sloane went in to calm DJ, telling him monsters were not allowed in penthouse nurseries. She caught Caspian's eye and saw no jealousy, only happiness that she was finding her own joy. He seems like a good man, Caspian said quietly as they tucked the children into their cribs. He does, Sloane agreed. But right now, these three are all the love I can handle. They are amazing, aren't they? Caspian smiled. As they watched the children sleep, Sloane realized this was victory, not revenge, not trying to make someone feel bad, not even love from a new man. Victory was three healthy children who would always know they were wanted. Victory was co-parents who put kids first. Victory was creating something beautiful from a hard, painful past. 6 months later, Rutherford Cosmetics announced a new line of children's products. All the money made would help single moms start their own businesses. Sloane appeared at the press conference with her 3 toddlers who made reporters laugh by refusing to behave like little professionals. When asked how she balanced motherhood with running a big business, Sloane smiled and lifted Asher onto her lap while DJ and Zara played with the microphones. I learned that the best revenge is to succeed so much that no one's opinion matters, she said. But more than that, life's best gifts often come from what looks like disaster. These babies taught me that love grows, that family isn't always just blood, and that sometimes the person who breaks your heart gives you exactly what you need to create a beautiful life. As cameras rolled and her children played around her, Sloane knew her story wasn't finished. But this chapter, which started with betrayal, ended exactly as it should, with love, family, and 3 little people who would always know they were wanted and celebrated every day. Caspian had thought leaving Sloane would give him a better life. Instead, he gave her the gift of becoming the woman she was meant to be and 3 amazing children who would carry her strength into the future. Sometimes the person who breaks your heart actually sets you free to find something better. Sloane Rutherford was living proof that the best stories don't end with revenge. They end with grace, growth, and love that changes everyone it touches. And just like Sloane discovered strength in her hardest moments, sharing these stories with you became her, and now your, purpose. If these stories make your heart stronger, change how you see the world, or just make you happy, subscribe to her channel. Every subscriber helps share hope, strength, and the reminder that life can always get better.